Coming up on the Retirement Halftime Show, worried your heirs won't be able to handle their inheritance? What you can do today to make sure they're not overwhelmed when you're called home. And creating a tax plan will help your entire financial well-being. We'll look at where and how to get started. Plus, updating your Medicare coverage when you can make a change to your plan and why. And we'll continue our conversation with men's Purdue basketball coach, Matt Painter, how he balances emotion with analytics and how your financial planning could benefit from the same strategy. Now, on the Retirement Halftime Show.
You wouldn't play a game the second half the same way you would the first, especially if you have the lead. This is the Retirement Halftime Show, helping you maintain your lead in retirement.
Welcome to the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm Heather McWilliams. Joining us is Alex Joyce with Rejoice Financial. Today, Alex, we're going to be talking about, should I make the trust the beneficiary of my IRA? First of all, what is a trust?
It's a great question, and I think that most people have no idea. And I think that is one planning piece that we pay very close attention to in our practice, because most people, they consider wills, trust, estate planning vehicles for dying, right? I mean, think about it. When is a will executed?
Yeah.
Nobody really wants to think about it. And more so, people think that a trust, as you just mentioned and asked about, is only for the rich and famous. But when we think about that, it's like, even the rich and famous didn't take that extra step to protect their life's work. Prince didn't have any kind of estate plan.
Yeah,
Michael Jackson, Aretha Franklin. The list still goes on. Paul Walker, Fast and Furious, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the biggest things we encourage our clients to do, right, is really to take those necessary steps to consider estate planning. I mean, we have these people in our office, which helps.
Yes.
Because it's a part of our process, and we encourage, we can't make them go through it, but we strongly encourage that everybody go through the estate planning process.
Okay.
Because it's really going to draw out the picture of what do I want my money really to do without my physical existence? What is probate? What is the duration of probate? How much does it cost? Are my assets, if something were to happen and medical expense was to be such that it was prohibitive to pay, and am I meant to pay that debt if my spouse predeceases, right? These are concerns. Is my assets, is my life private? How private and how exposed is it at my demise? You understand?
Okay.
And so by going through this process again, not only do we find things out about ourselves, right? By communicating that to a third party, call it a mediator, an attorney, right? But we also find out what is really important to us and what we want our assets to do with our physical existence and the taxation behind that. And so, for instance, a trust will never go through probate. Well, people think they have a will and their assets are protected, and the will is meant to go through probate.
Right.
Those are simple things that people just don't know.
Right.
And they're really, they're not really, most people not supposed to. Right? That's why there's attorneys that focus on the law, that focus really on estate planning, right? Or elder law, call it that. And so really when we deal with a family, one of the things that we take very serious, once again, is how the next generation, gets that wealth, how we want that money to be distributed and also spent.
Bingo. Right. Because if they get a lump sum of money, say at 18,
probably won't finish school.
Right. They don't have a reason to get out of bed.
As mature as that 18, 19, 20-year-old is, right? They probably aren't going to meet all those goals, and there's going to be some derail in that plan. There's also things to consider about, will it hurt them, right? Will inheriting lump sums of assets, for instance, a will is meant to be passed to that next generation, lump sum, right? That's just what a will does, is it dumps things out on people. Is that the way that you intend your assets to do? Right? Do you want an income stream? Do you want bloodline protection?
Right.
For instance, you have a son or a daughter that's getting married or gotten married, and then maybe there's some rough patch in the first 5 years, and something were to happen to you. Something happens to your son, daughter, and the other spouse takes off with half of the assets.
Yes.
That's probably not okay.
Yes.
And so what are the measures, what are the things that we put in place to guarantee, try, and make sure certain that doesn't happen?
These are great things to think about, whether you're reaching that age or not, because tomorrow, as we know, is not promised.
Right.
And what I love about Rejoice Financial, you guys are a holistic firm, right? So you do estate planning and taxes and everything else. That's what I love about you guys. You're a one-stop shop.
It is. It's truly unique when we have the opportunity to just reach across the hall or bring someone in the office and talk. And then, for our clients, to have everybody at the conference room table for you, I mean, that's got to feel good.
So cool.
You know what I mean? It's like everybody is there for you, your attorney, your CPA, your advisor, your wealth advisor. I mean, they're all there to make decisions about what is best on your behalf. And it's also, it's there, right? And that's the ultimate aha moment, knowing that you're going to be taken care of. Plan first, invest later. That's the philosophy here.
Yeah, it's a team approach. So if somebody wants to contact you, make an appointment, how do they do that?
They can just pick up the phone and call. They can text us any way that they feel comfortable engaging. Go into our website, non-invasive. Just take action and make it happen today.
As always, great information, Alex, and make sure you stick with us because there's a whole lot more to come.
Coming up next, creating a tax plan that works for your entire financial picture. Hear the first question a certified tax professional will ask you at your very first meeting, and why you shouldn't just keep the same Medicare plan year after year. Then, Purdue coach Matt Painter says he's always honest and upfront with recruits. It's the same principle at Rejoice Financial. Why it makes a real difference coming up. Text Alexander today and schedule a visit to discuss your financial goals for tomorrow and beyond. Text 707-REJOICE.
The journey to retirement takes many twists and turns. Don't take that trip alone. Let the team at Rejoice Financial be your co-pilot. The expert team of financial planners can create a roadmap that gets you to your goals. They'll work with you to create a financial plan that gives you confidence and peace of mind. Start the process today. Call 317-903-9157 or text 707-REJOICE. Rejoice in your retirement.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by Rejoice Financial.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm your host, Alexander Joyce, and with me today is Marquita Berry, the head of our tax planning and tax filing, let's call it division, right?
Yeah.
You head up that department, and I'm blessed to have you a part of the team with your experience. You know, I mean, you've spent a lot of your career on the IRS side, right, and kind of the corporate world, corporate structure, into kind of funnel that down, if you will, to now be very client-facing and a part of our team is just fortuitous. And so one of the big things that we want to do with our clients or our viewers, if you will, is we want to paint the picture to be able to properly manage expectations. And a part of that, especially in the tax world, even for me, it becomes very muddy at times. It's like, you get all this stuff. And your stuff's starting to come in the mail. And the more mature you get in retirement, especially when you get like RMD and you got different schedules and, you got dividend income and investment income and you got all this stuff coming in K1s and then maybe you got a trust. Mm-hmm. And so it definitely gets to be a lot. And so what we do is we invite people to come in and we invite people to call and schedule a time really for us to really understand what is in it for them. And to me, what that means is we are a goals-based firm,
Absolutely.
Right? With no minimums, with no dollars and cents in front of us. It's just, the value proposition is, can we do business by changing a life? And a part of that is, how do we change your tax life? And I think that to clear up this maybe misconception with the tax world, what are some of the common questions that we want to get out of the way and really just ask a client before they just leap in and let us do their taxes?
I would say some common questions, starting with the first one, is what has worked well or has not worked well for the client in their experience with their tax situation. And it'll give me an idea of where to start, because sometimes individuals just don't know. They're trusting a professional, they're signing the return. And I feel like the way that we approach tax planning here is so different because we listen to the client and understand what worked well. And if you don't know where to start, I can start there with you.
Sure.
With education of this is what has worked well. This is what happened, because sometimes people don't even know what has happened on their tax return, so they can understand what has happened and who, again, that household composition, what are your goals?
Right.
Who is in your household? Who are you taking care of? How are you taking care of them? And how can I keep you within proper tax code, but take care of what is important to you, your family, your goals, your future. Yeah. So take that information, get a good understanding, right? Build that relationship, really listen to the client and see what they need to be educated on, if anything. Some of the clients are very savvy. So meeting them where they are and getting them where they want to go, no matter where they started.
Yeah, isn't that important? I think that, you have to start somewhere, you know? And I think that a lot of times, that's one of the biggest reasons that some people don't reach out, take that leap of faith, and actually call an advisor because they really don't know what they don't know. They don't know where to start. They don't know if they have enough. They don't know what the cost is. They don't know if it's a fee-based, and we throw words in like fiduciary, right? Yeah. It really becomes very difficult. And you know, maybe we have a teacher that teaches elementary, or maybe we have a surgeon that you know, is doing surgery on a heart, right? And it's like, wow, I don't know how to do that. I'll probably, I have no interest in that. Right. I love this. You love what you do, I can tell, because your passion comes through for helping other people. And I think it starts there. You know, when we do a tax plan and we are ready to start the tax filing process, is it important, one of the questions I would have, is it important to have several years of back or past tax returns at the tip of your fingertips to review?
It would be very important to have past tax returns, but it depends on the specific situation. A lot of times, if I just see the prior year's return, I can gather so much information on how to help that client.
Or if they're doing something wrong.
Yeah, if they're doing something wrong, or if something worked well, you know, this was done really well for you, we want to continue that, or to dig in. Sometimes asking more questions in that discovery phase, you learn that what was done works well, but something works even better. Right. Especially if that particular activity they want to continue. They want to grow in that, for example. Like if it's a business, there's the startup phase. There's a certain way we're going to deal with the client in a startup phase. There's a growth phase. There's certain things you want to do when you're in a growth phase. Someone wants to go international. That changes everything. So it all goes back to really communicating with the client, being very honest about the things that can and cannot be done, what's been done well, what we will do for them, which is support them in every way we can, but also to talk to them about, you know, some things I may need for them to do and be that support while they learn how to do those things.
That support, and that is so true, and just working with them, listening to them, understanding what the goals and priorities are, making sure that, hey, you know what, the way you filed your taxes now that you're retired isn't really the way you should be filing your taxes, and have a plan moving forward to address the need, understand the concern, manage the expectation, and meet with us, right? I mean, it's all under one roof. And so to me, that's truly special. Marquita, I thank you for your time addressing some of our clients' tax concerns and our viewers as well. Again, you're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm your host, Alex Joyce. Again, Marquita Berry, head of our tax division. Stay tuned, folks. There's more show to come.
Next on the Retirement Halftime Show, the reason why you should at least consider changing your Medicare plan every year. And ahead, the difference between tax credit and tax deductions. Knowing what each is will save you money.
Do you remember this? How about that? Do you remember? The journey to retirement hasn't always been easy. I'm Alexander Joyce. Let us build a retirement plan you can rely on. A financial plan that gives you confidence and peace of mind. A legacy plan that protects them. And let us start that process today. And let us help you rejoice in your retirement.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by Rejoice Financial.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I am your host, Alexander Joyce, and with me today is Angie, and we are still on the topic of Medicare, Part 3. And today we're talking about changes, right? And when can someone, once they're enrolled, right? And we'll kind of get into that a little bit more, because I think there's some misconception, some confusion there. They think they can just call Angie. Angie can fill out some paperwork, get them enrolled in Medicare. Not necessarily true, right?
That's right. That's right.
And so let's say somebody came in and they're enrolled in Medicare. They've got a plan. They've had it for a couple of years, if you will. And it is, let's say, September, and they're not feeling it. Their friends down the street have a better plan. They want to switch over to the plan their friends have. Can they do that?
They can, but might not be able to do it in September. The majority of changes are during open enrollment. That's going to be October 15th through December 7th each year. That allows you to really have the most flexibility to make changes to your plan.
Okay, and again, that's October the 15th till
December 7th.
December 7th. Okay, and then within that open enrollment period, they can make any changes they want. They can go from a Medicare supplement to an Advantage plan as well?
Yes, you have the most abilities to make changes at that time. It's really the only time that you can make changes to your Advantage plan.
Okay.
Supplements have a little bit more flexibility, but then sometimes you start getting into underwriting.
I was going to ask, is it still fully underwritten? Right? Do they look back at past medical?
Yeah, a lot of times if you're making those changes past your initial enrollment, they are going to start looking at underwriting.
Meaning 65, 3
Yes,
months
sir.
before, 3 months after.
Generally,
Right,
yes,
generally,
yes.
And so, but if somebody's healthy and they want to make changes to their plan or switch from a supplement to an Advantage or an Advantage to a supplement, they can do that, right? No big deal. Just generally what we within that period of time.
Yes.
Within that period of time. But generally, when somebody, I don't know what the statistic is, if you will, but when somebody gets on a Medicare supplement or sometimes maybe an Advantage, they tend to keep that thing for a while, yeah?
Generally, yeah. Different benefits pop up and different plans come out at each year. So it's really a good idea that even if you're happy with the plan that you're on, find yourself an agent such as myself. They can do reviews each year, make sure you're still in the right product or the right insurance plan. And if something better has become available, then we're going to be able to see it.
Yeah, I think that's important, right? Because a lot of times, just like when somebody buys a mutual fund, they tend to keep it. They don't do reviews on it. And just like anything in life, it matures. It gets a little rough around the edges sometimes, right? And better and newer things come out. You got to keep this thing fresh.
And your personal situation may change as
Isn't
well.
that the truth?
You
Life
may get a
changes.
lot more prescriptions added, and your costs have drastically changed.
Yeah, that is very true. Your life will change. And I think having those normal reviews is critical. I mean, it's important.
I
right?
agree.
It's a game changer. And I think for me, when I look at this thing, looking at it from a holistic approach, right, where you got everybody under one roof, right? You've got your tax planner, your tax filer, you've got your estate planner, you got your wealth manager, your advisor, your financial planner, and you got your Medicare gal, right? And you've got somebody here that focuses on mortgages, and the list is long. And the reason we did that is, again, so we can focus on the holistic health of our client.
Sure.
Right? And we must bring them in. If it's not for an investment review, it's for a Medicare review. Maybe their life changes and it's for an estate planning review. A lot of our clients are in a time in life where people are coming in their life and God forbid somebody's exiting. These things trigger life change, and we need to be proactive about that so we can make a difference and make a change, right? And so I think that it's really cool. We'll keep doing this. Angie, we'll keep talking about Medicare because, again, key in educating our clients to make proper decisions when life does throw them curveballs. We can adapt, make changes, and move forward and make decisions appropriately. If you want to learn more, just pick up the phone. Don't hesitate to call. Pay us a visit today, and we'll sit down and see what we can do to help. Thank you, Angie. It's been a pleasure. Stay tuned, folks. There's more show to come.
Next, sitting down with Purdue basketball coach Matt Painter. Why adjusting the plan is something he does during the game and in investing. Then, the most common deductions you should look for before filing your taxes. This is the Retirement Halftime Show. Text Alexander today and schedule a visit to discuss your financial goals for tomorrow and beyond. Text 707-REJOICE.
Retirement isn't a game to lose. Your financial future hinges on every play. Follow Alexander Joyce in the Rejoice Financial Playbook to score the points that set you up for life. Win at retirement by calling 317-903-9157 and schedule a no-cost, no-obligation visit to get your retirement game plan in order. Don't lose where it counts the most. Call 317-903-9157 to schedule a visit now.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by Rejoice Financial.
Planning to win. Coaching strategies for financial success. Here's Alexander Joyce and Purdue University men's basketball head coach, Matt Painter.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm your host, Alexander Joyce, and with me today is Matt Painter, head basketball coach here at Purdue, and it's all about the numbers, as you mentioned, right? It's making decisions based off of data and facts. But you have to be confident in that, right? I mean, you've been at this 30 years, right? And so at the end of the day, it's like, I know myself. I know what my goal is.
Right.
I know what my team is capable of, and let's center and build a plan and build the data and look at the numbers based on that.
Correct.
Right? And it's kind of like when individuals walk in our office for the first time, right? And we get a chance to kind of learn more about them. And as you mentioned, understanding what the true dynamic of the individual is and the family, right? Because there's two sides there, right? And once we kind of get an idea of what the goal is and what we're trying to accomplish, right? And then we do the analytics, because we're a data-driven firm. Of course, being a holistic financial planning firm, there's a lot of data that goes into that. But once we then understand what the analysis looks like and we provide the solution to the individual, then we can kind of go back and see, as you mentioned, it's kind of easy to look in from the outside and say, here's what should have happened.
Yes.
Sure, you get that a lot.
Yes,
right?
you get a lot.
Here's what could have happened, or here's what they did. Why did they do that, right? But the true science is making the decisions to do things or make changes, if you will, especially in market conditions like these, where you have extremely high interest rates, you have inflation. Interest rates have been falling for 40 years now; they're going back up. And it's difficult to not make changes, especially when they're asking you to. Right. And I'm sure you get that pushback from your team a lot of times, right? And you've got you're the coach, you're the head coach, right? You're the leader of the team. And so it's like, what should we do at that moment? It's kind of like beating the buzzer, right? It's just like right there. What is that? How does that feel?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you have your data and you have your analytics, and then you have your feel through your experiences, and both are important. People that want to jump on one side or the other, I think are wrong. I think it's a combination of both. So it's like what you talked about when a family comes through. You just don't pour the data out right away. You're in a question asking mode and finding out, what do you want? Because you have this data, but one family might want something totally different than another family. So you listen to it, and then you frame your data to what they want. And then you stay, and then now you guys have a game plan together. Well, it's no different when you recruit somebody and you're trying to piece a team together. What they're looking for has to connect with what I'm looking for. Like, they always think that they're getting recruited. We're both getting recruited.
That's true.
So are you a great fit for Purdue? And they're trying to figure out, is Purdue the choice for me? And so to be as honest as you can be in those settings, you might lose, that client or that player. But now, if you do get them, you don't get them on false pretenses. Everything's above board, everything's straight up, and that's where you're going to have a long-lasting relationship. And that, at the end of the day, that truth, because when you play a team sport, everybody's got to sacrifice. Everybody's got to sacrifice for success. And, if you're not starting, or you're not in the rotation, or you're not getting the shots that you want, if you were upfront about that and you were honest about, hey, this is going to work organically, you're going to earn things. Now you're getting the right guy. If you sit there and whisper those sweet nothings to them, and you're going to start, you're going to shoot, whatever, it just doesn't work that way. And that's where you lose that chemistry. That's when you have that fake culture. And that's, everybody talks culture, but culture has nothing to do with speaking. Culture has to do with people doing it every single day. And you got to work on it. You just don't get a good culture and then all of a sudden, okay, we have the stamp, we have a good culture. No, it's something you have to continue to work on every single day.
Absolutely.
And that's what you want with your basketball program.
And that's great. I mean, there's a lot of value in that. Building that culture, takes time. And you guys have a great culture, right? I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, you've been here for a long time, and you've obviously led that, and there's a lot to be said about that. And it's interesting about you're both being recruited, because it's in my firm, my practice, Rejoice Financial. It's interesting because we always say we may not be the right fit for you. Right. And I think that in our industry, there's so many different acronyms. There's so many different types of advisors, right? There's financial planner, financial advisor, certified financial analysis, certified financial planner. And it's like all these letters behind the name. At the end of the day, what does that really mean? And there's lots of different firms, right? And I think it's very difficult finding the right fit for you where you're at that specific moment in your life. We use the mountain concept again, where the advisor that is helping you accumulate and build that wealth, if you would, isn't generally, isn't the same type of advisor that helps you get down. Because the goals and the priorities have changed 100%. I mean, taking a bunch of risk to chase a bunch of money, a lot of times when you're in the distribution phase or the legacy phase, which is, I want this money to do this for me when I'm no longer here, or I want this pot of money to jump over my kids and go to my grandkids, or I want to leave a brick in the wall at the university, whatever it is that you want to do or accomplish, we both have to see that, right? And we're not just going to take somebody on, as you just mentioned, on false pretenses. Like we're going to promise you a rate of return because then at the end of the day, we either do it or we don't. And if we don't, we're wrong. Right. As opposed to building a plan and having something to reflect on, as you mentioned, and now adjusting based on data, based on facts, and making decisions based on that. Matt, I really appreciate your time. This is truly a pleasure and an opportunity. I can learn a lot. I can talk to you all day. I really appreciate it. For those watching, if there's anything that we said that strikes a chord, don't hesitate to give us a call. You go to our website, a no-cost visit. Doesn't cost a thing to get a second opinion. Stay tuned. There's more show to come.
There's some things in life we can always get back. Money, that's one of them. But time, that can never be replaced. Your kids, grandkids, they don't care how big your house is or the type of car you drive. The time they spend with you, that's what matters most. Allow us to help take your financial concerns away so you can enjoy the more important things in life. Call us today at 317-903-9157. Schedule a no-obligation visit and rejoice in your retirement.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by Rejoice Financial.
Today's tip of the week for stronger financial health. Every year, we almost reconcile our income and the taxes that were withheld by filing a tax return with the government. When you do that, it's important to know that a tax credit directly reduces your tax bill. Meanwhile, a deduction reduces your tax bill by lowering your taxable income. We're all allowed deductions. Most of us take the standard deduction. The standard deduction is a set amount that taxpayers automatically subtract from their adjusted gross income. The size of the deduction depends on your age, income, and your filing status. It can range from nearly $13,000 to almost $26,000. But if you itemize your deductions, you might be able to reduce your tax liability even more. Some common deductions include charitable contributions, mortgage interest, and medical and dental expenses. The tax professionals at Rejoice Financial are available to answer your questions and even do a complete analysis that may include finding some lesser-known deductions and credits, preparation, and filing your personal, business, or trust taxes. Call today to set up an appointment. Today's tip of the week for stronger financial health.
Thank you for watching the Retirement Halftime Show. If you have questions about today's show, give us a call, send us a text, or go to our website. Most importantly, maintain your lead in retirement. I'm Alexander Joyce, and I'll see you next time.
Rejoice in your retirement with Rejoice Financial. Now, let's say your doctor told you you need a major surgery. Well, it might be a good idea to get a second opinion. If a mechanic told you your car needs an expensive repair, you might get a second opinion. Well, is your retirement performing like you think it should? Hey, if not, why not get a second opinion on that? I mean, after all, your retirement is important. Tell you what you do. Call Alexander Joyce at Rejoice Financial. Now, Alex's number is 317-903-9157. Look, Alex will always make sure your retirement is performing to meet your needs, and it costs absolutely nothing to get that second opinion. Alex and his staff, first thing they'll do, they'll get to know you and your needs. Don't retire with just enough to